through Chasing Tangles Fishing Adventures. Today is a land-based freediving mission to hopefully go and target some scallops down here in Coles Bay at Richardson Beach. Hopefully we get onto a few. We'll see who's out there. Alrighty guys, so we're at Coles Bay. The weather's supposed to be brilliant, nice and calm, but classic Tassie, the forecast lied, but we're still geared up and we're heading in for our first ever scallop dive. Visibility is pretty good and not too long after getting in the water. Straight on some scallops here, not very much water, probably a metre and a half maybe. So it was time to keep venturing on. There definitely wasn't the numbers here that we were looking for. As we cruised on out, numbers were slowly increasing but not dramatically. As with any free diving or snorkeling, a lot of ups and downs, but still an absolute ball at the same time. The further we ventured out, the more the numbers increased. The scallops are definitely by far easier to get in the bag than crays, that's for sure, so they're definitely not a challenge to get in the bag at all, but yeah, keep pushing on. The scallops are definitely not easy to judge their size underwater, so definitely well worth having a gauge with you if you are going to target them. But kept pushing on, running a float on my dive bag because they do become quite heavy once you get a few in there. It's not something you want to be swimming around with, and as we pushed out further, as the numbers sort of increased dramatically, so you'll see here a lot more numbers, a lot of smaller ones, but still some good ones floating in amongst it, and just sort of getting the hang of which ones are worth grabbing and which ones you sort of leave. Slowly but surely getting the hang of which ones to grab and which ones to leave now. As you can see, the conditions are pretty average on the surface and definitely not ideal for any sort of free diving, but keep pushing on. It is what it is, unfortunately. Come across some better ground here, a lot more numbers, a lot better size in the scallops as well. There is no real major art in getting scallops in my personal opinion. Just sort of find some sort of ground where they'll be located. It's one of them things, if you're just sort of beginning or getting the feel for the ocean, you could go and do this with your family or your children, permitting the weather's okay and better than today. A little bit of selfie time here with the GoPro before diving down and continuing on. Just sort of getting the lungs back in the game and just sort of relaxing and enjoying the time down there. Definitely worth having a gauge to measure each one before putting it in the bag, just so that you know that you're not breaking any rules or regulations regards the size of them and season times as well. If you are looking to target scallops or get some pointers or anything, it's well worth talking to people, asking them for a bit of advice. There's no harm in asking, and most people are more than willing to give you a bit of advice and bits and pieces and where to sort of go and look for them, so you're not just completely wasting your time. First bit of fish life we've seen in the dive was this leatherjacket here, quite a good sized one, but obviously there's not a great deal happening in this area where we were diving. So this was probably the highlight and the excitement for the day of fish life that we've seen. But never say, still a cool thing to see and get it on film. Come across this big old rock, so a bit more the terrain I'm sort of used to floating around in, but wasn't a great deal happening around that. So time to push on, find a bit better ground for the scallops, and bingo, found some. Here we go. Just cruise down to the bottom here, no mad rush, and sort of come across a few, grab as many as I can with my hands, try and juggle them back to the surface. They're definitely not the easiest thing to juggle. They seem to slip out of your hands quite easily. This here is the scenery we were dealt with for the day. Absolutely beautiful place. If you haven't been there, it's well worth traveling down there and just sort of, if you want to jump in and look for some scallops or you want to just enjoy it with your family, it is definitely an incredible place to go and visit. And the scenery is probably some of the best you will come across anywhere, in my opinion. A bit of an aerial shot here of myself doing some free diving. As you can see, sort of the changes in the bottom seems to be where the scallops are floating around, more so than on the crystal clear sand. There obviously is still some on the crystal clear sand, but not as many in numbers. What an absolute incredible place, guys. Crystal blue water. Obviously the conditions were far from the forecast, but that is quite often the case in Tassie, unfortunately. Our weather is definitely not predictable by any means. So yeah, just you got to get out there and give it a crack, unfortunately. Well guys, this is pretty much getting towards the end of the dive here and sort of sums up the day. Obviously not the most exciting thing to target, but needless to say, still a very, very good experience and something I'll definitely do again. So, and it's something that, most people can go and have a crack at themselves. It's time to start cruising back to the beach. We got our bag limit of scallops for the day, which is 50 per person for the day. So pretty successful overall, and just an absolute incredible place. Some beautiful scenery and some memories that will last a lifetime. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. If you did like it, please hit us up with either a subscribe or a like, or if you got some suggestions for future videos, definitely drop a comment below and we'll see what we can get you guys in the future. Thanks for watching, we'll see you on the next one.